Lesson 6.3 The Knowledge Interchange, a new relational model for territories. The contradictory manifestations of the effects of digital interaction on the social and economic system are clear for all to see and call for increasingly substantive responses in terms of methodology and the embrace of diverse fields of knowledge. New relationships are emerging in the labor market and in the production of value, while a good part of wealth is generated by irregular and unpaid work that takes jobs anyway from others, anticipating, without anyone realizing it, the much feared danger of job losses due to automation. The phenomena emerging are increasingly characterized by a complexity and factorial multidimensionality that calls for open, non-deterministic interpretation and the interaction of diverse disciplines in offering a scientific contribution that is interdisciplinary in its analysis and response. Against this backdrop, the innovation system as we have known it, apparently defined and consolidated, has imploded, overtaken by new players that are bringing the new contribution of a contingent but also strategic nature. To focus on the research and development and training needs of enterprises is short-sighted and anchored in immediate contingency, both in terms of time and relationships. Collaboration between territorial players is occasional at best, in which each is driven by the need to confirm their existence and reason for being. They fail to see the virtuous logic of partnerships that activate sustainably, supported and developed skills and competence and steer them to rise to the challenge of the digital transition. In such a highly critical context, it's imperative that a new relation model is forged to steer interaction between the innovation players that permeate the social and economic fabric of our territories. A model that directly engages university, industry, and all the agents involved in innovation and the promotion of growth, and that is able to work with traditional models and ultimately replace them in stimulating collaborative research and the spread of innovation processes across all players in the system. Such a diverse perspective overshadows the model of technological transfer and fosters instead much broader interaction between players within a new scenario of cooperation and exchange. Interaction processes are of central importance not only in the framework of collaboration between different disciplines, but also between the different innovation system players, where universities are called to develop a promotional system for knowledge interchange, for the exchange of knowledge developed and under development by the various players. This new relational model, based on the key logic of interchange, is of such importance that we call it the Knowledge Interchange model. But it's also the fruit of the growing efforts by universities to fulfill their social responsibility towards local territories. In knowledge interchange, universities act as a point of injunction, exchange, and fertile multi-stakeholders engagement focus on addressing and directly resolving both the big challenges of contemporary society and the implication for business and industry. Interaction with industry cannot be driven solely in terms of responding to the demand of enterprises and organizations. Rather, it must be underpinned by a model that acknowledges the steering and leading role of university in pioneering the roads of research and in pooling and exchanging knowledge and skills, with a view to promoting the comprehensive development of the territory, as well as solutions for goods and services targeted at the most advanced and highest potential markets. In this way, we can progress beyond the linear model of innovation constructed in the first half of the 20th century and based on a series of sequential, theoretical and operational steps, in which the relationships between 1. Fundamental research, 2. Applied research, 3. Product development unfolded in progressive and unidirectional ways. The new model proposed replaces one-way relationships with interaction and interchange between the various factors connected dynamically to territories as the underlying basis of innovation processes. It does so in the awareness that territorial proximity, which has always been believed to be central, is no longer a necessary condition, as territories have become more permeable and knowledge interchange can and must bridge physical and cultural space. With the knowledge interchange model, research is at the service of industry, government, communities, and other territorial players. It recognizes the value of their knowledge and helps them understand and evaluate the challenges unfolding and those that lie in wait in order to identify together the solutions and action to be implemented both immediately and in medium-long-term period. Knowledge interchange builds opportunities for university to come to fore as research centers for territories and in particular for small and medium enterprises. That, of course, entail a certain problem in steering the funding earmarked or to be earmarked for the purpose, but shifts to after the cultural question is addressed and resolved, which calls for a more advanced approach by the players involved. The task of knowledge interchange is to foster proactive cooperation between the worlds of research, production, institution, and investments, taking into consideration the evolutionary dynamics that drove the various players in the innovation ecosystem into the framework of digital transformation. It's fundamental to cooperation that the problematic factors that have underpinned the criticalities to have emerged with the adaptation of the relational system in place to date are overcome. The fields for the application of knowledge interchange, lying along a series of underlying axes depth, although not covering the entire panorama of action, focus on the primary strengths of the model. First of all, there is the field of training. Given the necessity of promoting the constant enrichment of curricular programs in the light of the ongoing changes investing the various contexts, it's imperative to train highly skilling and qualified people, for example, with innovative research doctorates for the interdisciplinary governance of the most significant issue tied to technological transformation. At the same time, the impact of digital technologies and automation on works in terms of the need for upskilling, but also the loss of routine jobs, demands the activation and consolidation of continuous skills development based on tailor-made and situated learning approaches. Of particular importance is the need to preserve and support basic research as a fundamental condition for the development knowledge in its richest, freest, and most articulate forms to promote our understanding of manifest and latent phenomena. In terms of applied research, it's essential to be engaged with industry, institutions, and all players that can contribute to addressing and governing problematics and to frame the needs of research within a broader perspective that can draw from the full realm of interdisciplinary knowledge and skills to develop analysis and projects that meet the challenges of today and the future. Implementing research also entails supporting industry in the creation of prototypal goods and services by developing advanced research infrastructure in the highest level which universities can play at their disposal for the development of high-tech, highly skills and knowledge-intensive services. The sharing of the research infrastructure constitutes a major opportunity to bring together and foster greater engagement between industry, people and researchers, thereby promoting the circulation of knowledge and the exchange of skills and helping to boost the value generated by the process. Finally, the framework of action should not neglect the opportunity for public engagement to reach out to all the ultimate users of research outcomes. Their engagement, right from the very start of the process, represents a golden opportunity for identifying the needs and demand for research more accurately. Accordingly, Knowledge Interchange will fulfill its task if it succeeds in becoming an activator of the network that acts on the territory, and if it's able to engage on the collaborative and cooperative plane. 1. The network of university researchers and public and private research centers. 2. The network of research implementers consisting of enterprises, government agencies, policymakers, and all the players that can implement research outcomes for the creation of advanced goods and services. 3. The network of researcher supporters, encompassing the planners or managers of public funding for territorial development, philanthropic foundation, impact investor, and institutional investors. 4. The network of end users who determine the underlying demands for the production of goods and services and who represent the ultimate beneficiaries of research outcomes.